Hey folks, Ariel over here at Fineth, where today I want to address something I've gotten some questions about over the years, but that a lot of people don't often talk about because it's a little messy and gross and whatever, but it's part of life, and if you're the female half of the population, you probably have to deal with this. If you're the male half of the population, you probably have to deal with us. So anyway, I just wanted to, now that I'm in life much closer to the side of hopefully not needing to do this stuff forever, I'll tell you all the things I've learned over the past bunch of years that I wish I'd known when I was 15, when my first period started, when I started menstruating. If this is too gross of a discussion for you, I get that. Have a nice time and come back for another video. So I have, like I said, learned some things over the years that I wish I had known, or options I wish I had known about, and so on when I was much younger. So I thought I'd maybe hopefully share somebody else, share that info with somebody else and save them from going as many years and having to figure out this stuff through trial and error. And everybody's different. This is what works for me personally. Women's bodies are different. Anyway, I've tended to have really horrible periods most of my life. Like curl up in bed, wish I could die kind of cramps for several days, send me home from work. They have not been good. And now they're not generally as bad, which is wonderful. And so over the years I've tried different things. One of the things I first became aware of is that any menstrual products that you tend to use right up against your skin down there you want to be very careful with what they're made out of, because that stuff can be absorbed into you. That your tissue is like a mucousy membrane there, just like when you take a pill and you put it like under your tongue because it dissolves and gets absorbed by your body pretty quickly. Things can get absorbed by your body pretty quickly if they're in contact there. So the first thing I did was quite a few years ago, and this makes some women's cramps much better. It did not help on that aspect with me, but I've still continued, is to quit using any kind of product that has plastics, chlorine, bleaches, all that kind of stuff. So one of the most popular ones, and one that lots of my very good friends and sisters and whatever love, is some kind of like one of these little cups. There's quite a few different brands. I think the what was the original big one? That one's got some fuzzies on it from its little bag because it's been in there for a while. There's Luna cups and so on. Anyway, this works kind of like a tampon, except it's a cup. And so you fold it in half to make it skinny. You insert, it pops back into being like that shape, and then it's a little cup, and it can fill up with whatever's draining. And this little end here is, the little handle, so you can pull it out, empty it. The nice thing about this is it's washable, reusable, and you can, probably go with like 2 of them, if you want to be able to have the option to, you can boil it in a little water to disinfect it, but if you want to have the option to rotate, having 2 of them on hand could last you the rest of your life. Now, like I said, I have a lot of friends who really, really like this thing and have been using it for a long time. I really, really wanted to like this, and I don't personally find it comfortable. I've never liked, I never used tampons. I have 2 of them. I keep them around. There's generally 2 sizes, usually you've had a baby or you haven't had a baby size. And I personally I really, really want to like this because I love the idea of it being reusable and not creating waste and all of that, but it's just not very comfortable for me. I don't know why. I still have them. I can use them if I need to. That would, I would say, be my first choice of an option that I wanted to work for me. So if you're not aware of those can be a really cool thing. And like I said, many, many women do not have my experience. I have sisters, I have friends, they all love them, and they've been using them for a long time. And it lives in its little baggie there, which is nice. So I've tended to use pads. Now, I don't love the idea of creating a lot of waste, so I was able to find this brand, and I'll try to link to all this stuff down below. You may be able to find it in local stores, but if you can't, I think I've got Amazon links probably for all of it. NaturCare makes a pad, and it looks like your average standard maxi pad. I think they make one maybe with wings. I've never liked the wings, so these don't have them, but I think that's an option you can get, I'm pretty sure. And one of the things I love about them is that they are all cotton and, let's see if it says on here, yeah, organic cotton and cellulose pulp and cornstarch even for the bag. Everything here is compostable. As you probably know, we use a composting toilet and I compost everything I can. So even though this is not infinitely reusable like this thing is, at least it does not make any plastic waste and it doesn't have any of those nasty chemicals in it that are going to be up against my skin. So for quite a few years now, I have really liked using this brand. I tend to buy them, you know, by the case every so often, so I always have plenty on hand. I find them comfortable and they work well for that. So if you're interested in and have the option to compost something instead of use a bunch of plastic trash, I really like those. I actively use them. In between, when I have lighter days, this brand, I tore the top of the bag off so it would fit nicely in my little cupboard, so I don't have the top. But this brand, I don't know how they pronounce it, is Rael or something like that, and they make a very small, thin, individually wrapped panty liner, which to the best of my knowledge is not fully compostable, but it is all organic cotton, no bleaches, no fragrances, none of that. And so when I have a lighter day, I have used those. I haven't found yet a fully compostable one that I'm happy with. Or I would try that. And I have tried a lot of these. I use these thin liners a lot. I've tried a lot of the different brands, and some don't stick in place. Some stick so tight that they you can't get them off again. They come off in pieces. This is by far the ones I've been most happy with as far as that. Then, kind of along the lines of this cup, the thing I've discovered more recently, like, I don't know, a year and a half ago or something in my life that I wish I'd known about before, was these flex discs. Now I'm going to show you one. That's the bag they come in, but here's one I opened to show a friend the other day. These look a little bit like a diaphragm or something. It's this big disc with this kind of like plastic bag on it, and it looks like there's no way that's going to go in there. You pinch it to that shape, and Flex has like great detailed YouTube videos on like a model of a woman's waist showing how this works. You insert it in, it pops into place. It sits, as you can probably tell from that diameter compared to this one, in a whole different place. I don't remember all the names, but you can see how different the size is there. It sits in an entirely different spot in there, and for me, when that goes in there, they're both doing this basically the same thing, catching all of the flow. I don't feel it at all. And one of the things that made me try this is that it's a lot of women report that it's helped make their cramping much, much less severe. And since that's been such a big issue for me, I tried it. And that I have found to be helpful for me. These, unfortunately, are just disposable. They're not a reusable one. You can leave them in for, I think they say 12 hours, so it's pretty handy. You can put one in the morning and go be busy all day, change at night, and so on. And I tend to, my really heavy flow all kind of comes at once, so I'll only go through 2 or maybe 3 of these in a period. I would prefer if I had a reusable one, but these are so comfortable to me that, and it really does reduce the cramping, and that's huge. So I have been using these, and they, in between, during that 12-hour period, because that little cup can fill up, you can almost burp it. Again, they've got really good descriptions on this on their website and in videos and such, but you can, sit down, and if you just kind of bear down a little bit like you were trying to like squeeze a poop out, you can actually tip that wherever it's sitting inside you and like dump the contents out into the toilet. I know that sounds kind of weird, but it really does work, and it stays in place, and as soon as you quit that bearing down motion, it pops back up. You wipe up and it's all good. So if it's getting full in that 12 hours, you can empty it like that. Hopefully that makes sense. Also, something to be aware of is you can use them during intercourse. If that's, so I know some people think that's very gross and some people think it's great, whatever. That is an option. It stays in place, and there's an option to be clean and do that if that interests you. So now what I usually use is, my routine now is I go through a couple of these on my very heaviest flow. Just before the heaviest flow starts, I use these just because I don't want to go through more of these than I have to, where it's that plastic, that's not plastic, it's latex or whatever that the ring's made out of, but it's a disposable one and not compostable. So I go through a pad or 2, then a couple of these, then a pad or 2, then some panty liners, and that's kind of my routine. But again, if you can do this thing and enjoy it, absolutely go for it, and lots of women do. So as far as actually dealing with the sanitary stuff, that is what I do. And man, I wish I could go with just this, because it would eliminate all this. I wouldn't have to compost it. I wouldn't create any trash. This would be my ideal solution. I just wish I really liked the way it felt. So other than that, and I really do like that these things seem to definitely reduce my cramping. In addition to that, if you've been following here for a while, I've probably sent you guys to check out Mother Nature's Mountain before. My lovely friend Flower makes lots of herbal stuff in her little off-grid homestead in Vermont, which is way, way far away from me, but we tend to have very similar weather in our cold, snowy locations. Anyway, she makes a goddess woman PMS tamer that is she raises the stuff herself, or harvests them, forages for them wild in the forest surrounding her place. It's chaste tree berry, skullcap, dong quai, raspberry leaf, lemon bulb, apple mint, grain alcohol, distilled water, and love. Anyway, this stuff does seem to help reduce my PMSE symptoms. I'll do a couple. It's just a liquid. It's totally clear. Looks like nothing. I'll do a couple droppers full in a glass of water and do that a couple times, and that it just seems to help me somewhat. So I keep some of this stuff. I actually buy it in a bigger bottle. I forget what the bigger one is she sells. Maybe a 4-ounce bottle, and then I refill my little one, so I've got it handy. But I do this, and I'll try to link to her website down below. She makes all kinds of other awesome stuff, like her goat's milk soap is terrific. I don't even use soap on my skin, but Clay uses it in the shower and stuff. He loves it, and she takes such good care of her animals. You'll find her like baking pancakes for her chickens and making pies for the goats. Anyway, Flower's terrific. Go check out her stuff if that interests you. And then the other big game changer, and I just want to be real clear here, I'm not a doctor. This has been my personal experience. The biggest thing for the cramping for me has been using this Kratom powder. Kratom, if you have never heard of it, is in the same family of plants as like coffee and tea, and it is, for some people, a very effective painkiller. Now, in the course of my life, because I've been dealing with this, horrible life shutting down, periods every month for many, many years, I have tried a lot of things to kill that pain. I have tried over-the-counter pain medications, all the Advils, the Aleve, ibuprofens, Tylenols, Motrins, etc. I have tried prescription strength painkillers. I had a horrific reaction to that. I thought my heart was going to stop, and I nearly passed out. We'll never be trying that again. I've tried every natural herb and remedy. This does reduce some of my symptoms, but it does not completely cut the, I want to curl up and die kind of pain. And nothing has ever helped. No plant that I've tried, nothing has ever helped. And somebody suggested trying this, and I thought, well, I've tried everything else. I'll give it a try just in case. At this point in my life, I'm not really optimistic that I'll ever find something that takes care of these cramps. This stuff has changed my life. Clay could tell you this stuff has changed my life because he's seen how miserable I was. It's in the same family as coffee and tea. If you look up what the FDA says about it, they say it's very big, bad, and scary, and nobody should ever use it. You have to decide what you think of the FDA's pronouncements about such things. It is totally legal. They have tried several times to turn it into a scheduled drug. Every time they've been shot down. They tried to get the World Health Organization to make it an internationally scheduled drug. They also shot that down based on a massive body of evidence that said there's no reason people can't use this plant that people have been using for thousands of years. Anyway, it is like a greenish gray powder. That side of the bag is clear, so I don't know if you can see that, or greenish brown powder. It doesn't really dissolve, but I drink it like a tea. I don't really enjoy the flavor. I find it a little strong. It's similar to a green tea flavor, which I also don't like, and not quite like a coffee flavor, which I also don't like. So some people might actually like the taste, because obviously a lot of the world enjoys green tea and coffee. I just have never enjoyed any of those flavors. Anyway, so I mix in a cup of hot water, sometimes with a little bit of my raw honey in there, just because it helps my flavor problems with it. And you kind of have to keep stirring it as you sip it, because otherwise all the powder will settle to the bottom and you're trying to actually ingest that. Some people also take it in a capsule form. I haven't tried that. But this stuff is an excellent painkiller. I have experienced personally, again, I'm not a doctor, do your own research, decide what you think. My experience has been absolutely no side effects. Even if you look at the scary, no one should ever use it, like you'll have withdrawal symptoms. They sound less severe if you drink it every single day and then quit than most people would have if they drink coffee or Mountain Dew every day and quit. And I don't enjoy the flavor. I don't drink this for fun. I usually drink a cup when my period starts, a cup about 12 hours later, maybe a cup 12 hours after that the next morning, and that's it. I don't touch it again for the whole month, but it knocks out my cramp symptoms. Sometimes it makes me feel, and there's different, this is a red one, there's different, it's not strains, it's actually kind of when the leaf is harvested, kind of like green tea and white tea and black tea are all the same plant, it's just how mature the leaf is. There's red and there's orange and there's yellow and there's green. The red seems to be most helpful for most people with a lot of pain. A lot of people use this for chronic pain and so on as well. So that's the one I've found definitely the most beneficial, because that's, you know, why I'm taking it, is I want to kill pain. It'll sometimes make me feel just a little bit drowsy, but I have other friends who have used it and they don't have that at all. In fact, some of them seem to be extra energized, like a little bit more wired. I don't know why that's the way it makes me feel, but you'll read very scary stuff about it will give you hallucinations and you'll be seeing pink elephants, and I've never encountered myself or anyone else. Clay will use this when he's got severely sore muscles because he's way overworked himself. I've got multiple other friends who have used it. Nobody's experienced any such thing, so I would take that with a grain of salt too. But anyway, this stuff also, aside from my period, I just want to have in my cupboard of, you know, medicinal things to be able to deal with stuff here, since we very rarely go to the doctors. But if you're another woman like me who has struggled for most of your life with debilitating cramping, I have to say that everybody's body is different. Other things helped other people and they didn't help me, but this might be worth a try. And one thing to be aware of is you take a very tiny amount, like a teaspoon or less, to dissolve into that cup. So this bag lasts forever. I keep it in the freezer so it stays fresh. I just pulled it out for this video. Taking a lot, like if you drink alcohol, if you have one beer or one glass of whiskey or whatever, and then you have 10, the effects are noticeably more pronounced at 10 than 1. This is kind of, everybody seems to have a sweet spot. You get just enough and the effects are most pronounced. If you take way more than that, you don't get more pain killing, you actually get less. So don't just go heaping teaspoons or tablespoons or whatever of it. It will probably be less effective. You probably want to start with a small amount and figure out what the right amount is for you. For me, it's like, I don't know, half a teaspoon or so in a cup of water, and I do that about every 12 hours, and I can go on with, not like, yippee, I feel so happy, but like, I can go on and I just feel a little bit crummy and life goes on, rather than I want to curl up and die, I can't function, I can't move, I can't work, I can't do anything. So that stuff has been life-changing. Anyway, this is all stuff that's taken me several decades in my life to find and learn, and finally get to be functional the whole way through a month. And if you're another woman who's experienced similar things, hopefully maybe some of these tips will be helpful for you. Like I said, not everything works for everybody. I've tried things that worked for other people, like even just switching to the, you know, non-toxic, no chlorine, no plastic pads. That helps some people a lot. It didn't do it for me. I still have other health concerns about that, so I'm still using the more natural ones. But Kratom and Flexdis, those two have made me functional during my period when I never was. So anyway, that's my little off-grid setup of stuff. If you can use compostable stuff, if you're going to use, you know, disposable ones, I think that's most ideal. So that's why I do that. Again, if you can use the cup and have, you know, then I would have nothing but these three things, and this is reusable. That would be great, and I think it's certainly worth a shot if you have never tried it, because like I said, I have many, many close friends who love this. I just wish I did. And so that's what I've got. Hopefully some of that is helpful for at least maybe ideas to try if any of you guys have been in the same boat as me and suffered just debilitating spells every month that take, you know, months and years of, you know, useful life out of your life, which is very frustrating. I wish all of you ladies the best cycles possible, and have a wonderful day.
We hope you enjoyed it.
Come back next time for more adventures.
Thanks for watching.